deaths and more Ebola patients in Eastern DRC, still all of us are not safe. Not just Uganda, not Rwanda.
While reject corruption and uphold integrity, DPP Anguzu reaffirms Uganda's fight against corruption as justice sector prepares for 2026 prosecutors symposium.
We are also taking steps and measures to ensure that we curb this quickly. Next week's activities are one of the cardinal objectives is to reach out to the prosecutors to bring this to their attention and guide them on what the public is saying out there and what we need to do.
And beyond here, Ukraine boosts border security with Belarus over attack fears.
Brought to you by
Centenary Publishing House, the leading publishers of prayer and hymn books since 1977.
And from the heart of Kampala, we do start with the Ministry of Energy that is assuring Ugandans that the current fuel crisis is under control and won't spin out of hand. Permanent Secretary Engineer Irene Pauline Bateve says while global supply disruptions at the Strait of Hormuz and the surging US dollars have spiked pump prices, strategic steps are being taken to stabilize the market. She urges the public to remain calm and even suggests carpooling as temporary fixing. Our reporter has more to this.
The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, Engineer Irene Pauline Bateve, appreciated the general public for their patience and understanding during the time that the fuel prices were destabilized due to disruption at the Strait of Hormuz, noting that it is not just Uganda facing this concern, but rather the entire globe, and promises the situation will be back to normal. She noted that the dollar of the barrel had doubled and calls upon Ugandans not to fear the appreciation as government is working with the oil companies to control the situation.
Following the onset of the Middle East conflict that started in February this year, so we are 4 months into this conflict. And as government, we've continued to review the situation and ensure that we are supporting the country to remain supplied with petroleum products covering diesel, petrol, but also jet fuel for aviation. So overall, and we really want to thank the public for having walked that journey with us. You have been resilient as the public, as you supported us navigate this season. This is not just a Ugandan issue, it is a global phenomenon. We are going through unprecedented times, and for those who are following the global events, you will note that every country continues to navigate this particular conflict.
Engineer Irene highlighted the trend of petroleum leaving Kampala to the neighboring countries, but notes that government was quick to address this issue, though she admitted that Ugandan product was way cheaper than the neighboring countries if they had to import. She also acknowledged their partnerships with other countries and affirms that Uganda isn't about to run out of product, but are rather enhancing strategic reserves and stock and revamping storage terminals.
And the Kenya Pipeline Company to ensure swift evacuation of product so that the market remains served. And indeed, the teams from the National Oil Company, UNOC, but also the ministry team from the Petroleum Supply Department, we've been dispatching them every other week to Kenya to ensure that we are unlocking all product that needs to come into the country. So with those efforts, we want once again to assure the public that we remain served with sufficient petroleum products, and we continue to place our orders month on month to ensure that the country is not depleted of product. Now, as we do that, we also are evaluating our other bottlenecks within the country. and we are supporting UNOC to address issues concerning strategic reserves and stocks. So we are supporting the Uganda National Oil Company, number one, to revamp and expand the storage terminals in Jinja. Jinja Storage Terminal accommodates about 30 million liters of product. We consume 8 million liters per day. And we are working with UNOC within the limitations of that facility to expand it to add another 10 million liters. And that project is on course.
She revealed that the supply security is to be guaranteed when the 60,000 barrels per day refinery in Chikube, Hoima is complete. She emphasizes commitment and also says people should look out for other options of transport in the meantime, like carpooling, until the situation is stable. She says they are working to ensure that the increase in prices isn't so enormous.
Interventions, we also have the long-term interventions that we are looking at. Ultimately, our security of supply will be guaranteed when we establish our local refinery in Uganda. And indeed, we are working together with our partner in the private sector, Alpha MBM, to advance the development of the 60,000 barrels per day refinery to be located in Chikube, close to Hoima. And that project is on course. We are advancing the front-end engineering designs, and we should make FID, the final investment decision for this project, early next year. That will be our ultimate solution to these global supply disruptions. So as government, we are committed to ensuring that we support the security of supply of the country in the short term, medium term, and long term.
Though the dollar rate had gone up by 200 shillings before the conflict, oil marketing companies were engaged by government to ensure the pump prices only reflect the inflation costs, but might go higher because of the incoming product which was ordered after the conflict began. There was panic buying of product at some point around the border posts that forced the government to hold supply to other countries. The ministry further assures the public that the situation will not go out of hand. This is News at 8.
And more from ministries. The Ministry of Health Uganda has launched Uganda's first National Rehabilitation and Assistive Technology Strategic Plan 2030 in a move to assist the disabled in making sure they access that assistance they should have in making their lives better. We do take a look at this report.
Uganda has today taken a significant step towards improving rehabilitation and assistive technology services following the launch of the country's first National Rehabilitation and Assistive Technology Strategic Plan 2025 to 2030.
I take this singular honor, fellow Ugandans, to launch the National Rehabilitation Assistive Technology Strategic Plan 2025-2030 for God and my country.
The strategy was officially unveiled during an event organized by the Ministry of Health as part of efforts to strengthen rehabilitation services and improve disability inclusion at all levels of the health care. Speaking as the chief guest, Dr. Diana Atwine said the development of the strategy was informed by findings from the systematic assessment of rehabilitation situation, commonly known as STARS, which identified major gaps within Uganda's rehabilitation and assistive technology sector.
We know that also we have many partners that have been in this space. We want to work with you together in a more organized way, and specifically to make sure that we bring this technology, because really the people with disability, especially the physical disability, it's not that they are able to do whatever they just need to be assisted. And the technology has shown that really if these gadgets are provided to the people who need them. They can even be also be productive like any other.
Dr. Atwini emphasized that the ministry remains committed to achieving universal health coverage under the principle of leaving no one behind. She noted that the strategy will help expand access to quality rehabilitation and assistive technology services across all levels of Uganda's health system.
Government of Uganda is committed to ensuring that this strategy, working together with partners, will be able to implement, will be able to prioritize the things that have been put and especially the gaps that have been identified and the priorities that have been set. We will continue to work with him to make sure that assistive technology is not just only a preserve of the partners, but also government starts committing to make sure that we put some money.
Meanwhile, Dr. Mwaga Moses, the Assistant Commissioner for the Disability and Rehabilitation Division under the Department of the Community Health, revealed that limited funding remains one of the major challenges affecting rehabilitation services in the country.
To increase services, tulina services mu facilities zaffe eziyina okulabirira abantu abo baliko obulemu ng'abo bakozesa exercise ba physiotherapist, aba occupational therapist tubayina mu malwaliro gaffe n'abasawo bennyini abalongoosa abayina omumwa gwa nakimu oba abalina emitwe eminene nabana abakola club food tubayina kati mu plan yaffe eno tubadde tuwa abantu awareness.
Stakeholders from the various rehabilitation centers who attended the launch pledged commitment towards immediate implementation of the strategy to improve rehabilitation services nationwide.
Now that the launch has been done, we want to assure all Ugandans that through the Ministry of Health, we are going to get better services, rehabilitation and accessibility is going to be
Uganda, please ask, even if you are a person without a disability, go out and inquire. These things are for you. Please join us.
If we can get rehabilitation extending beyond the health facilities to where people dwell, work and study, we'll be very delighted.
Really facing this great challenge, like when you come in such a function, you have to go there.
During the event, government through the Ministry of Health distributed wheelchairs to persons with disabilities as part of efforts to improve mobility, independence and inclusion. Officials also used the occasion to call upon Ugandans to end stigma and discrimination against persons with disabilities and instead promote the equal opportunities and acceptance within the communities.
Now, from the corridors of justice, Uganda's Director of Public Prosecutions, Lino Anguzo, has reaffirmed Uganda's commitment to combating corruption, pledging strong accountability and integrity measures within the prosecution system. Speaking during a press conference in Kampala, Anguzo unveiled plans for the 2026 Annual Prosecutors Symposium and the third Joan Kagezi Memorial Lecture aimed at strengthening professionalism and responsiveness within Uganda's justice sector. We do take a look at what the DPP has to say to the nation.
The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has reaffirmed its commitment to tackling corruption with renewed calls for integrity, accountability, and professionalism within Uganda's justice system. Speaking during a press conference held at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions in Kampala, Director of Public Prosecutions Lino Anguzo said the fight against corruption remains a key national priority. He noted that one of the major objectives of the upcoming 2026 Annual Prosecutors Symposium will be to examine the growing challenge of corruption and develop practical strategies to address its impact on governance and public trust.
We are handling the individual cases as they come, but as an office, we're also taking steps and measures to ensure that we cap this quickly. Next week's activities are one of the cardinal objectives is to reach out to the prosecutors to bring this to their attention and guide them on what the public is saying out there and what we need to do.
Anguzo further revealed that the Office of the DPP has introduced several mechanisms aimed at strengthening efficiency, professionalism, and integrity among prosecutors. He emphasized that accountability remains central to the institution's operations, warning that officers who fail to uphold professional standards are subjected to disciplinary action.
We have internal mechanisms, strategies that we have really designed to ensure that our prosecutors are more efficient and more, they have more integrity in what they do. And for the specific cases that have been reported, Farouk, we have investigated them. This morning I was just considering disciplinary action we're taking against really many prosecutors. Some of them we are going to retire them, some of them we're warning them, some of them we are demoting them. But all these are efforts at addressing unlawful conduct by prosecutors. There are quite a number who we are prosecuting in court, and we are prosecuting them ourselves.
The remarks came as the DPP officially unveiled two major upcoming events, including the 2026 Annual Prosecutors Symposium and the 8th Joan Kagezi Memorial Lecture. Held under the theme Enhancing Professionalism for Responsive Prosecution Services, the symposium will bring together prosecutors and stakeholders within the criminal justice system to discuss emerging challenges and strengthen prosecution services across the country. Meanwhile, the Joan Kagezi Memorial Lecture will focus on the role of prosecution in fostering economic growth and enhancing prosecutorial capacity in handling complex cases.
The symposium is also an important annual platform that brings together all ODPP prosecutors, those licensed by prosecutors licensed by the office of the DPP, and key stakeholders within the criminal justice system. It is designed to facilitate critical engagement on emerging crime trends, evolving jurisprudence, and the practical challenges encountered in the prosecution cases. In the symposium, the office of the DPP will host the 8th Joan Kagezi Memorial Lecture. And this will be on the 29th of May 2026 at the Speak Resort Munyonyo, and I am inviting all of you to come and attend.
Anguzu also appealed to members of the public to reject corruption and uphold integrity in their daily lives, stressing that the fight against graft requires collective responsibility from both institutions and citizens.
But I also want to appeal to members of the public. Corruption is just a function of public conduct. If we don't corrupt the prosecutors, there is no way the prosecutors can be corrupt. Sometimes we are the ones who corrupt them by trying to influence them to decide one way on their cases, when ideally the law is that they should decide another way. If we refuse to be corrupted, there is no way prosecutors can be corrupted. And so I am appealing to you, members of the public, to support us in this fight. We can't do it alone. There is the leadership or the management in this institution. We need the public to be with us.
As Uganda intensifies efforts to combat corruption, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions says building public trust, strengthening accountability, and promoting professional prosecution services remains essential in safeguarding justice and the rule of law.
And now we do pay a visit to the Parliament of Uganda, where the race for Uganda's deputy speakership position is gaining momentum, with an increasing number of female members of Parliament expressing interest, joining the already endorsed outgoing deputy speaker of the 11th Parliament, the Honorable Thomas Tayewa. With more than 10 women legislators now linked to the contest ahead of the 12th Parliament, the race is shaping into one of the most closely watched political battles in recent years as far as the Ugandan Parliament is concerned. To take a look at how this is unfolding and certainly what we need to know.
Colleagues, we all followed up on this matter.
Political activity surrounding Uganda's 12th Parliament continues to intensify, with the contest of the Deputy Speaker position attracting growing attention from both ruling and opposition camps. The rising number of female aspirants is increasingly being viewed as a strong statement on gender inclusion and women's leadership in national politics, as legislators push for broader representation with Parliament's top leadership. Among the legislators who have already expressed interest in the seat are Lydia Wanyoto, woman MP from Mbale City, Catherine Lamwaka of Omoro District, Adrian Katshave Mwevesa of Shema District, Lilian Aber from Kitgum District, Robin Rakojo, MP for Gomba West, Dr. Jen Ruth Acheng, woman MP for Lira City, and Mwenge South MP Honorable Kamuli Kutesa. Political analysts say the growing list of contenders reflects increasing confidence among female legislators who believe the next parliament should embrace more inclusive and balanced leadership. The race has now attracted 2 additional contenders, Rose Obinga, the woman MP for Terego District, and Nyakato Asinasi, woman MP for Hoima District. Speaking to journalists in Kampala, Rose Obinga called for fairness and equal opportunity in the selection process, arguing that women legislators possess both the numbers and the leadership capacity required to occupy office of Deputy Speaker.
In this country, women form 51.4% of the population. Therefore, gender equality is crucial. 2, there's already a history. We cannot rewrite history. That when the speaker is a man, the deputy speaker should be a woman. Or when the speaker is a woman, the deputy should be a man. How can we change this now?
Obinga clarified that her decision to contest should not be interpreted as a personal challenge against outgoing Deputy Speaker Thomas Tayebwa, but rather as part of broader efforts to strengthen women's participation in national leadership.
Everybody would say, why are you standing against Tayebwa? I'm saying I'm standing on the ticket of women. I'm not against Tayebwa. Tayebwa has another place. They can fix him somewhere. But let this space of women remain. And that woman, all of you have seen, is me.
She also raised concern over alleged corruption within Parliament and called for stronger accountability mechanisms, urging security agencies and the Chief of Defence Forces to support efforts aimed at restoring public trust in the institution.
I'm requesting the CDF not only to stop with Parliament, let him have a thorough check of Parliament. Can you imagine these members of Parliament were entitled to papers, headed papers? How can somebody eat headed papers? All them are Bati thieves, all of them. I'm saying all, not sparing any, should all go to Luzira.
Meanwhile, Nyakato Asinasi appealed to both opposition and national resistance movement legislators to support equal representation in Parliament's top leadership positions.
I'm here to offer my candidature for the said position. I call upon members of Parliament, members of the 12th Parliament, both the men and women, to trust me with their mandate so that I can be able to deliver.
Asinasi outlined some of the priorities she would champion if elected, including strengthening parliamentary independence, improving legislative oversight, and fast-tracking completion of the new parliamentary chambers.
I pledge myself, I commit myself that if given an opportunity to serve as Deputy of Parliament, I will stand to reclaim, to restore the independence of Parliament, which is given to it by the Constitution, the 1995 Constitution, and Article 79 of the Constitution, which says that Parliament is supposed to be an independent arm of government. Many times we have seen external forces trying to intervene in the works of Parliament.
With more women continuing to join the race, the deputy speakership contest is expected to spark wider debate on leadership, representation, and the future direction of Uganda's parliament. Political observers say the outcome of the race could become a defining moment for women's leadership in Uganda and potentially reshape power dynamics within the country's legislative farm.
Followed up on this matter.
And because we are the Church of Uganda Family TV, in our journey now of News at 8, we do pass by the corridors of faith and we get to listen to the Archbishop giving us a bit of nourishment and guidance on how we should spiritually lead our lives. The Archbishop's moment.
Archbishop's moment. Sponsored by Uganda Christian University, a center of excellence in the heart of Africa. Join the UCU experience now. And
African Heights Junior School, where we nurture joyful, helpful, and God-fearing children.
People should learn to work These days people are used to free things. Ebintu ebyobwerere. And these days we have even churches. They are promoting it. You just come and pray and God will give you. But you need also to work. When people come to pray, we teach them also work. It's very important. Yeah? Other people come, you come here like we have a parking down here, I have seen. They say, now come and step in this parking. Well, even if you don't have a car, and you say, I claim the vehicle. You go around, you sell the vehicle, I claim that. They are not free things. We're not here to claim things. You pray and work and go. And some people say, you claim it, you receive it there and then. What people should know we are called to definitely work.
Archbishop's Moment, sponsored by Uganda Christian University, a center of excellence in the heart of Africa. Join the UCU experience now. And
African Hearts Junior School, where we nurture joyful, hopeful, and God-fearing children.
The Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, the Most Reverend Dr. Samuel Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, reminding us of the value of prayer and repentance so that we continue to maintain our conversations with the Lord, but also renew the relationship that many times we do foil in the many undertakings that are not with the will of God. And at this moment, we do push our 1 News at 8 caravan into a very short break, and certainly we shall bring it back. And like we promised, we are right back from that very short break. It is news at 8 here on Church of Uganda Family TV. My name is Philip Molisa, and I am with Winnie Buyinza Nakauchi for sign language interpretation. And starting us off in this second segment, the Ministry of Health Uganda has assured the international community that Uganda remains safe and fully in control of the Ebola situation despite concerns surrounding the Ebola Bundibugyo virus disease outbreak in the region. Government officials made the assurance during a high-level partner engagement meeting in Kampala aimed at updating diplomats and development partners on Uganda's preparedness and response efforts towards this crisis. We do take a look at this report.
Government has reassured the international community that Uganda remains safe and fully prepared to contain any Ebola threat as regional surveillance and response measures continue to intensify. The assurance was made during a high-level partner engagement meeting held at 4 Points by Sheraton, Kampala, which brought together ambassadors, development partners, and the health agencies to receive updates on Uganda's Ebola preparedness and response efforts. Addressing journalists, Dr. Diana Atwine said the engagement was organized to address misinformation circulation internationally regarding Uganda's Ebola situation. Dr. Diana Atwine emphasized that Uganda currently has no confirmed Ebola case, nothing that even health workers and medical personnel who handled suspects' cases have also tested negative.
In Uganda, as I talk, the patient we had in our isolation tested negative. We have not registered any other positive in the country. Therefore, as I talk now, we do not have any positive person in the country. All high-risk patients, all high-risk health workers that have been in our isolation center for the last 1 week, nobody has tested. Even when they were exposed right from 10th, nobody, today is 22nd, nobody has tested positive. All our people in our centers, we keep on checking, no one has tested positive.
She further stressed government's commitment to transparency, saying Ministry of Health has remained open in sharing information and response updates with both Ugandans and international partners. The Permanent Secretary also presented Uganda's Ebola response plan and called upon development partners to align their support with government priorities to strengthen preparedness and rapid response systems.
Came out with those 11 points, strategic interventions that we are going to implement, and our teams are already at the border points. The teams are already in the districts. They are sweeping through all those potential areas of risk.
Dr. Atwine reassured the international community that Uganda possesses the expertise, experience, and technical capacity to contain Ebola and prevent cross-border transmission of the disease.
At this time. So, even healthcare, those who are coming to seek healthcare, that's why we're thinking that we must set up a facility at the border, right at the border, a treatment facility, so that those who really need, because we cannot turn, Uganda, you know, we are always, this is our policy. On humanitarian, we should have gotten Nobel Prize.
She also reaffirmed Uganda's readiness to support the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo in combating Ebola through deployment of mobile laboratories and medical teams whenever requested.
Here we move and we work together in DRC and also the border districts of Uganda, the better for us. We have all the systems and we have total control of infection in the country. Provided DRC is continuously producing more and more deaths and more Ebola patients in Eastern DRC, still all of us are not safe. Not just Uganda, not Rwanda, not Burundi, not Tanzania, not even Zambia, not even South Sudan and other. So the earlier we come through to support and make sure that we reduce this infection escalation, the better. We must maintain the same vigilance because we still have the enemy roaming around us.
Health officials continue to urge the public to remain vigilant, observe preventive measures, and rely only on verified information from Ministry of Health as Uganda strengthens regional collaboration to prevent the spread of Ebola. Emmanuel Elengai for Church of Uganda Family TV, News at 8.
The Bishop of Namirembe Diocese, Right Reverend Moses Banja, has called on Ugandans to remain vigilant and strictly follow Ministry of Health guidelines in the fight against Ebola. The Bishop made the appeal while commissioning new Boys and Girls Brigade leaders at St. Paul's Cathedral, Namirembe, where he also urged young people to remain disciplined, faithful and committed to serving both God and their communities. We do take a look at this message from the Bishop. As Uganda continues to strengthen surveillance and preventive measures against the Ebola virus, health authorities have intensified public sensitization campaigns aimed at containing the disease and preventing further infection. The Ministry of Health Uganda has repeatedly urged the public to observe proper hygiene, avoid unnecessary physical contact, and immediately report suspected Ebola symptoms to nearby health facilities.
We are temporarily suspending all cultural celebrations, commemorations that attract big numbers of participants along DRC-Uganda border.
With growing concerns across the country, religious leaders have also joined efforts to mobilize communities to remain cautious and comply with government health directives. While addressing Christians during a service at St. Paul's Cathedral, Namirembe, Right Reverend Moses Banja urged believers to treat the Ebola threat seriously and actively participate in protecting their families and communities.
Now that you know very well that we are challenging with the Ebola pandemic, especially with our neighbors in the Congo, Republic of Congo, and since we are the neighbors, so we are asked to take all the possible precautions, the SOPs.
The Bishop emphasized the importance of personal responsibility, noting that every Ugandan has a role to play in observing preventive measures and supporting national efforts to safeguard public health.
Let us avoid shaking hands. That is sometimes hard for some of us, but because of life, let us start again shaking hands, and let us please to understand, because we don't want to see any of you get that virus Ebola, because we want to see you live, because the mission of the
Bishop Banja made the remarks during the commissioning of the new Boys and Girls Brigade leaders, where he challenged young people to uphold Christian values, remain disciplined, and become positive role models within society.
We expect you to be exemplary. I know you are going through different systems of education. Some of you are in various schools, I believe.
He encouraged the newly commissioned leaders to use their positions to inspire positive change, promote unity, and support community awareness efforts, especially during challenging times facing the country.
Era n'engeri ennambulukufu omukristaayo zatambuliramu. Waliwo obubonero obulaga nti omukristaayo mugoberezi wa Yesu, nga beewala omulabe sitaani okubatwala n'okubawaabya okubatwala mu byensi.
Meanwhile, some of the newly commissioned brigade leaders pledged to strengthen youth ministry, promote discipline among young people, and support church activities within their communities. Others said they would use the leadership skills acquired through the brigade movement to mentor fellow youth and encourage responsible living among young Christians.
Tusuubira okukozesa objective ya Boys Brigade yennyini enyikire mu bavubuka bano basobole okutuukiriza ebyomulabirizi byatutuukirire okutuukiriza erinnya nze Samwiri Siroki Eriyazaali. okusingira ddala nga gwe muwulidde mukadde waffe bishop atugambye omulimu gwaffe ng'abavubuka ogusookera ddala kwe kubunyisa enjiri ya kristo eri bavubuka bannaffe era mu kisanja kino twagala nnyo okuteeka amaanyi mu kuvuba bavubuka bannaffe ababuze abavubuka bangi babuze bavudde ku kristo ensi ebabuzaabuzizza.
Has expressed hope that the newly commissioned brigade members will serve as ambassadors of faith, discipline and community service both within and beyond the church. Now, as Uganda continues counting down to this year's Matters Day celebrations, today's Matters profile focuses on Alexander Kadoko, one of the brave Christians who endured steadfast in faith during the persecution under Kabaka Mwanga II. Born in Buganda Kingdom, covering much of present-day central and southern Uganda, Alexander Kadogo belonged to the Ndiga clan. Historical accounts and oral traditions suggest that he may have been related to Kabaka Mwanga II, while other records describe him as a chamberlain serving the royal princess within the palace. We will take a look at the story of Alexander Kadogo. And from across the seas, Ukraine on Thursday said it is ramping up security in regions bordering Belarus after warnings for weeks of a possible fresh attack launched from the territory of Russia's chief regional ally. Kiev has sounded the alarm that Russia may use Belarus as springboard for its 2022 invasion of Ukraine to stage a new offensive from the north, including towards the capital, Kiev. We do take a look at what is happening in the Balkans.
Russian drone and missile attacks killed several people across Ukraine on Thursday, one striking a high-rise apartment building in the city of Dnipro. Meanwhile, Ukraine's president is sounding the alarm about a wave of attacks he believes Moscow is planning to launch from Ukraine's neighbor to the north, Belarus.
I am tired of this constant threat to Ukraine. The fact that at any moment the Russians may drag Belarus into expanding the war. They must understand there will be significant consequences for them.
The This week, Russia and Belarus staged joint nuclear drills on Belarusian territory, some of Moscow's largest in years, involving weapons, tanks, submarines, aircraft, and some 64,000 troops. Amid tensions with NATO, the Kremlin said the exercises were held for the preparation and use of nuclear forces in the event of aggression, and a government spokesperson dismissed Zelensky's accusations as an attempt at further incitement.
The Kyiv neo-Nazi regime, with the support of NATO member states, continues its attacks on the civilian population and civilian infrastructure of our country, including using cruise missiles and long-range rocket artillery.
Russia used Belarus as a springboard for its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, which has since spiraled into Europe's deadliest conflict since World War II. On Thursday, Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko
And that crowns today's episode of News at 8 here on Church of Uganda Family TV. But as practice is, we do take a look at the headlines once more.
Headlines brought to you by
Centenary Publishing House, the leading publishers of prayer and hymn books since 1977.
In our Friday edition, Uganda currently has no confirmed Ebola cases. Dr. Diana Twini confirms as Uganda assures world of full control over Ebola situation.
Where the biggest problem is in DRC. We do believe as a country that even if we have all the systems and we have total control of infection in the country, provided DRC is continuously producing more deaths and more Ebola patients in Eastern DRC, still all of us are not safe. Not just Uganda, not Rwanda.
While reject corruption and uphold integrity, DPP Anguzu reaffirms Uganda's fight against corruption as justice sector prepares for 2026 prosecutors symposium.
We are also taking steps and measures to ensure that we curb this quickly. Next week's activities are one of the cardinal objectives is to reach out to the prosecutors to bring this to their attention and guide them on what the public is saying out there and what we need to do.
And beyond here, Ukraine boosts border security with Belarus over attack fears.
Brought to you by
Centenary Publishing House, the leading publishers of prayer and hymn books since 1977.
I do thank you for keeping us company through today's episode of News at 8 here on Church of Uganda Family TV, and indeed a special thanks to the team that put this together, from the editors to the reporters and indeed the production and transmission team. My name is Philip Mulisa, and I've been with Winnie Buyinza Nakauchi for sign language interpretation. A very good evening, and may you all have freedom always.